The afternoon sun was a heavy blanket over the jungle. Our bus moved slowly. It was an old machine, but strong. It rumbled along a narrow dirt road. The road was just a thin line cut through a world of green. On both sides, giant trees reached for the sky. Vines as thick as my arm hung down like ropes. The air was thick and humid. You could almost taste it. Sweat dripped down our faces, but nobody minded. The sounds of the jungle were all around us. Birds called from hidden branches. Insects buzzed in a constant chorus. It was a symphony of life, raw and untamed. We were just visitors here, passing through this ancient kingdom. Inside the bus, a sense of adventure filled the air. Tourists from all over the world peered out the windows. Their faces were a mix of wonder and excitement. Cameras clicked, capturing the incredible scenery. People pointed at colorful birds and strange-looking flowers. Laughter and cheerful chatter filled the small space. The bus driver, a local man with a calm smile, navigated the bumpy road with skill. He had driven this route 1,000 times. He knew its every twist and turn. For all of us, this was more than just a bus ride. It was a journey into the heart of the wild, a chance to see nature in its purest form. The heat made the world outside seem to shimmer. Sunlight filtered through the thick canopy above, creating dancing patterns of light and shadow on the road ahead. We saw monkeys swinging high in the treetops. They moved with incredible grace, leaping from branch to branch. It was a beautiful display of wild freedom. Everyone on the bus was captivated. We felt a deep connection to this powerful place. The world of cities and concrete felt a million miles away. Here nature was in charge. We were just lucky witnesses to its majesty, rolling along in our metal box. Our guide pointed out different plants and explained their uses. He showed us trees that locals used for medicine and others that provided food. The jungle wasn't just a collection of plants, it was a living, breathing system. Every leaf, every creature had its role to play. The slow pace of the bus allowed us to soak it all in. We were not in a hurry. The journey itself was the destination. We were learning to see the jungle not as a green wall, but as a complex and beautiful world. The mood was peaceful, full of discovery and the quiet joy of exploration. The bus rounded a sharp bend, and then it stopped. The driver hit the brakes, not suddenly, but with a slow, careful press. A murmur of confusion rippled through the passengers. Why were we stopping here? Then we saw it. Standing in the middle of the narrow road was an elephant. It was huge, a magnificent bull with long curved tusks that gleamed in the sunlight. Its skin was wrinkled and grey like the bark of an ancient tree. It stood perfectly still, a living mountain of muscle and bone blocking our path. It was an awesome sight. This was what we had come to see. At first, the mood on the bus was one of pure excitement. The quiet chatter erupted into gasps of amazement. People scrambled for their cameras, pushing against the windows to get a better view. "Look at the size of it!" someone whispered in awe. The elephant seemed calm. It flapped its enormous ears slowly, creating a gentle breeze. It pulled a branch from a nearby tree with its trunk and began to eat the leaves, unbothered by our presence. It felt like a magical moment, a peaceful encounter between our world and his. We were guests in its home, and it was allowing us a glimpse of its daily life. The driver turned off the engine. The rumbling of the bus died, and the sounds of the jungle rushed in to fill the silence. Now we could hear the elephant's slow, heavy breathing. We could hear the snap of the branch as it stripped the leaves. For several minutes we just watched, mesmerized. The elephant was a symbol of the wild, powerful, and serene. It represented the untamed spirit of this place. No one felt any fear. We were separated by the glass of the windows and the metal of the bus. We felt safe. It was like watching a nature documentary. But this was real, happening right in front of us. Our guide spoke in a soft voice. He told us to stay quiet and not make any sudden movements. "He is the king of this jungle," the guide said. "We must show him respect. We will wait. He will move when he is ready. This advice made perfect sense. We were on his territory, following his rules. The elephant finished its branch and then casually ripped another from a tree. It continued to eat, ignoring us completely. The initial wave of excitement settled into a quiet, respectful observation. We were content to wait. The experience was worth any delay. The change was subtle at first. The elephant stopped eating. It dropped the half-eaten branch to the ground. It lifted its head and looked directly at the bus. Its large, intelligent eyes seemed to be staring right through the windshield, right at us. The slow, gentle flapping of its ears stopped. Now they were held out wide, making it look even bigger and more imposing. A low sound rumbled deep in its chest. It was not a roar, but a deep, vibrating growl that you could feel as much as hear. The air on the bus, once filled with excited whispers, became thick with a sudden, chilling silence. The elephant took a step forward, then another. It wasn't charging, but its slow, deliberate advance was terrifying. It swung its massive head from side to side. Its trunk curled and uncurled, testing the air. This was no longer a peaceful giant. This was a warning. The animal's body language had completely shifted from calm to aggressive. The guide's voice was tense. "Nobody move," he whispered urgently. "Don't make a sound." But you could feel the fear spreading through the bus like a virus. The magical moment was over. Paradise had shown its dangerous side. Survival instincts were kicking in. Panic began to set in. A child started to cry at the back of the bus, a thin, wavering sound that cut through the tension. The elephant responded immediately. It let out a loud, trumpeting roar that shattered the jungle's peace. It was a sound of pure rage. It pounded the ground with its front foot, sending a tremor through the earth. Dust kicked up around its feet. This was a display of dominance, a clear message that we were not welcome. We were a threat. The bus that had felt like a safe metal box now felt like a fragile trap. Wildlife experts explain that elephants, especially bulls, can become aggressive for several reasons. They might feel threatened or protective of their territory. Sometimes past negative experiences with humans can make them hostile. This bull was in musth, a state of high testosterone that makes them extremely unpredictable and aggressive. Its behavior was a classic sign. It was asserting its dominance over what it saw as an intruder in its path. We had unknowingly stumbled into a confrontation with a powerful animal at its most dangerous. We had crossed a line, and now we were about to face the consequences. The attack came without any further warning. The elephant lowered its head and charged. It was only a few steps, but the speed was shocking for such a massive creature. It hit the front of the bus with a deafening crash. The sound of metal crunching and glass shattering echoed through the jungle. The impact threw everyone forward. The bus rocked violently on its wheels, tilting to one side as if it might tip over. Screams erupted inside. The calm tourist excursion had turned into a nightmare. Pure primal fear took over. All thoughts of capturing the moment were gone, replaced by the single desperate need to survive. The elephant wasn't finished. It backed up a few feet, then slammed its head into the side of the bus right next to the windows where people were sitting. Another sickening crunch of metal followed. The side of the bus buckled inwards. People scrambled away from the windows, falling over each other in a desperate pile. Panic was absolute. The elephant's enraged trumpeting was right outside, a terrifying sound that filled our ears and our minds. We were trapped in a metal can being torn apart by a creature of immense power. There was nowhere to run. The driver was shouting, trying to start the engine, but in the panic, the keys had been dropped, or the engine had flooded. It wouldn't turn over. The bus was dead. The elephant struck again, this time with its long, sharp tusk. It pierced the metal side of the bus like it was paper. The tusk scraped along the side, creating a horrifying screeching sound. People were screaming, crying, and praying. The guide was yelling, "Get out! Get out the back door! Go!" He was trying to create an escape route, a chance for survival. The back door was forced open. People began to pour out, stumbling and falling into the jungle. They didn't look back, they just ran. They scrambled into the thick undergrowth, thorns and branches scratching at their skin. They didn't care. The only thing that mattered was putting distance between themselves and the raging elephant. The bus was no longer a vehicle, it was a scene of chaos and destruction. The orderly rows of seats were a mess of abandoned bags, cameras, and terrified people fighting to get out. It was every man, woman, and child for themselves. Just as the last few people scrambled from the wrecked bus, a new sound cut through the chaos. It was the sharp crack of a firecracker, followed by another. A man emerged from the jungle path behind us. He was a local wildlife ranger, alerted by the noise. He was shouting in a local language, his voice strong and commanding. He held a long bamboo pole and was lighting and throwing small firecrackers towards the elephant. The loud bangs and flashes of light were designed to startle the animal, not to harm it. It was a brave and dangerous tactic. The elephant was momentarily confused. It stopped its attack on the bus and turned its attention to the ranger. It let out another angry trumpet, but this time there was a hint of uncertainty in it. The ranger stood his ground. He banged the bamboo pole on the road and let off another series of firecrackers. He was creating a wall of noise and distraction. Slowly, cautiously, the elephant began to back away. It swung its head one last time towards the bus, then turned and disappeared back into the dense green of the jungle as silently as it had appeared. The attack was over. Silence descended once more, but it was a heavy, deafening silence filled with shock. The survivors huddled together by the side of the road. Some were crying softly. Others just stared at the damaged bus, their faces pale and drawn. We were all trembling, our bodies flooded with adrenaline. We looked at each other, seeing the same terror and relief reflected in everyone's eyes. We were alive. That simple fact was overwhelming. The ranger checked to make sure everyone was safe, offering calm words of reassurance. We were stranded, but we had survived. That day was a brutal lesson in the power of nature. We had entered the wild as curious tourists, seeking a gentle adventure. We left as humbled survivors, with a profound understanding of the line that separates us from wild animals. Experts always stress the importance of respecting wildlife from a distance. These animals are not theme park attractions. They are powerful, unpredictable beings governed by instincts we can't always understand. Our presence in their world is an intrusion. The jungle is beautiful, but it is not tame. It demands respect, and if you forget that, it has ways of reminding you.